So today we are going to do my mid-year reading journal flip through. This was my first year doing a reading journal. So I'll talk about how the journey has been as we flip through, what I have discovered works for me, what doesn't work for me, things I probably want to try in the future. So this is my reading journal. I don't know the company. Yap and Tom. I just got it on Amazon. It's definitely not the cheapest one. I think it was like $30, but I just liked the moon and I was willing to pay more for it, but you can get a very cheap one. I know the one from Michael's is very popular and that's only like $10. I like what I like and I'll pay for it if I do. So I got this one and I really enjoy it. I think the pages are very nice and thick. They aren't see-through at all. And I have put it through the ringer. I have a lot of scrapbook paper and stuff, so it's quite thick and it has held up very well so far. So I really like this notebook and I will probably buy from this company in the future. But getting into the journals, so I didn't bother to fill out any of that. They do have a bullet code and like color key that I didn't use. They also have a index, table of contents that I didn't use. But this first page was just my intro. I love the way this looks, but I never see it because I never open to this page. But I love the look of this and I enjoy it. It's nice. So the first spread I made was inspired by Christine over at Secrets Read. I do like the idea of this, of seeing the year all in one spread, but I don't utilize it very well. I end up making a calendar for each month and I just find that I use those much more often and I just always forget this exists and I never really add things to it. So I don't know if I will do this again next year. It is nice, especially for like very important things like weddings that are planned out pretty well in advance. Otherwise, I don't plan out a lot of stuff that much in advance, so I don't find myself using this very often, but great idea. Then we have my goals and reading goals page. So this, I just listed out my goals and I'm doing pretty good on them. My one goal is read 100 books, which this correlates to. And I just color in a box as I read a book. I'm filming this July 6th and I'm at 65 books. So I'm well on track to my book goal of 100. Honestly, it's a goal that I truly don't care if I make it, if I actually hit the goal, but it's just a nice number to have. And I have my goal of reading at least one Kindle Unlimited book per month, and I just kind of built in a tracker in here. So as long as I read, or at least start to read, a book a month from KU, I will just fill in a little box, make it really simple. I've done really great so far. June is the only month that I started but did not finish a book on KU, but I'm counting it as a win because I read like 300 pages on Kindle, and quite frankly, I think May I read a book that was like 150 pages. So really at that point it's a novella, but so I am counting it even if I don't finish a book. So I'm doing pretty good with that. Could be doing better though. I read Fairy Loot and book subscriptions. That's debatable if I'm doing that good or not. Definitely not doing Fairy Loot well. Book subscriptions, I do read my Nightworms packages pretty regularly, so that one I stay pretty good on top of, but Fairy Loot I have officially unsubscribed from. I've officially unsubscribed from Fairy Loot. I'm very proud of myself. I've been holding on to it because of FOMO, and quite frankly, I do not read the most of the books that I get sent from them, so I finally canceled, and it feels good. So that is a goal, to still read the books I did get from Fairy Loot. And yeah, gonna work on that. But at least now I will not be adding to the pile. Utilize library more and buy less. I definitely think I've been doing this very well for me. I will never honestly put myself on a book buying ban. I will never do that because honestly, if I do that, it will make me go crazy. I just feel like you can do everything in moderation, and that's how I've been doing it. You will see later on in my monthly spreads, I do keep track of the books that I buy outside of the subscription boxes to make sure that I am not going overboard. And I'm definitely holding myself back and making myself buy books that I legitimately believe will be a very great book for me, or I have already listened to the audiobook or something like that and I just want the trophy book, I have been holding myself back from buying quite a bit and definitely seeking out the library first. Participate in more readathons. I definitely have accomplished this, and this was the very first year that I was asked to be a co-host for a readathon, and I was the co-host for the Escape the Readathon that Lexi puts on by Books with Lexi. It was so much fun. So I have been not only participating in more readathons, but being part of more readathons behind the scenes as well. So super exciting. Another goal was read ARCs. Since I've gotten my NetGalley, I do this. I need to do it more, but I'm doing it, so it has been accomplished. Read short story collections. I believe I've only read, I want to say one short story collection this year, so I definitely need to work on that one. Participate in book clubs. I have been horrible at this, but I have participated in some. I haven't been great about it. I do want to push myself to participate more. Next goal was use this journal, which I have been doing, and I'm very proud of myself. This is truly and sincerely my only creative outlet, creative hobby that I have. And I've loved it because you can be as, extravagant, as detailed as you want to with it, or you can be as minimal as you want to with it. It's very flexible to whatever your personal abilities are. And I find that the more I do it, the more creative I feel. Originally, a lot of these first spreads were very much copy and paste from other people's books that I could find, and I would kind of pick and choose things that I liked that people did and kind of go off of those. And now I find that I can open a blank page and think of something that I want to do just out of my brain, just right there, and it feels really great, and I've really enjoyed this experience. So there's that. And then also one of my goals was to create more creative videos, themed vlogs, recommendation videos, and I have done that. I want to do that more. I have so many ideas for themed vlogs. I just don't have enough time to do them, but my video idea list is ever growing. I definitely want to focus on a lot more vlogs moving forward for the rest of the year because I've been lacking in those for sure. So, and then of course my reading goals page, I fill it out as I go. And then these next few pages are my long list of book logs. So these are just all of the books that I have read. I definitely gave myself more pages than necessary, but I really enjoy having just a reading list, a log like this. To me, it's very satisfying to just see everything listed out like this. So this is just all of the books I have read the whole year so far. So I will likely do this exact same layout for next year too. Then monthly stats at a glance. Technically it should be yearly stats at a glance, but that's where I keep my stats for each month and I can kind of see them all side by side, which I have really enjoyed. I do find some of these are difficult, so I ended up kind of changing my TBR column to be more so my physical TBR, books that I've already owned. Originally it was meant to be the books that I read from my planned TBR, but I decided to make it more of like my physical TBR, so I did do that. And I count even books that I recently bought, so it's not like backlist TBR or whatever. It's just if I had it on my shelves, no matter when I bought it, it counts towards that. One column I find very difficult is my LGBTQIA plus column. Initially, I kind of had it for authors, if a LGBTQIA author wrote it. But then I decided to also have it just include if the story has LGBTQ rep in it as well. If there's a sapphic romance or a queer character, I will have that count in there too, because I will not be searching up every single author I read and asking Google if they are in the LGBTQIA plus community. I find that to be very awkward and weird. So only if I truly just already happen to know that they are in the community, or if the book itself has rep in it, they will count in that. And then my BIPOC and Indigenous is specifically for authors. And then I also keep track of the books that I read that I got from the library, books that I read physically, books that I read through audiobook, through ebook, and then if I DNF'd a book. After watching Kitty's video, Spicy Cats, she has a page dedicated to her DNFs, and I kind of want to try that next year, but my problem is I don't DNF very much, so I don't know if I should dedicate a whole page to it, but at the same time, I want to DNF more, so maybe having a full page will make me do it more. I don't know. We'll see. I might do that. And then instead of doing like a full page bracket, I decided to just do a fave of the month column in here. So I just built it into that. And I like that. I like picking out a favorite book each month. Here's my series tracker. Some of these might have to be updated. I think I have started series that I haven't added to these yet, but I have finished a good handful of series this year. I finished the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. I finished the series The Night and Its Moon. I finished Throne of Glass. I started Empire of the Vampire. I finished the Shepherd King duology. I initially debated on doing duologies on here, but I ended up putting them there, but I don't know if I'll continue to include duologies moving forward. I don't know. I feel like it's just like trilogy plus should be on the series tracker. Like this Lady of Darkness series, I'm not going to continue anyway, so I'm probably just going to dash that out. I'm not continuing with that series, but I did start it. But yeah, I like the idea of the series tracker. I don't think I love the way I did this setup. I've seen it where people have the title of the series and then underneath they individually write out each book, and I think I like that better. So I might do that in the future for next year. This spread, trash. I'm not going to continue this spread. Obviously, I'm not going to continue to get fairy loot, but I also have not kept up with this at all. This is another good indicator of why I should have unsubscribed to fairy loot. So I did not keep track of my fairy loots as I got them. I haven't been reading them. I'm unsubscribed, so this will not be continued into next year, but it is cute. I like the way it came out. My ARC tracker, I need to update this more. So the idea was to write my thoughts here, which obviously I didn't do that. But I will, because I'm going to reread this book actually. So I'm going to put my thoughts there once I get there. I have since gotten more arcs than I allowed myself room, so that kind of sucks. I might have to do like a little insert if I end up getting more arcs and just kind of paste it in and tape it there and make it look like that pretty much and just have it flip over. And once I get more books that I like, I will continue on with this Polaroid idea. But so far, The Eyes Are the Best Part has been my favorite arc that I've read. Everything else, other than Amelia, that was 4 stars. That could get a Polaroid. Everything else I didn't like enough to want to write about, really. So yeah, we'll see. I also have some more Polaroids on this page. So I got to do better at that. But I do like the idea, and I will continue to do that next year. But I just might rework this spread a little bit more. And then my reading in pixels, I love doing this. I'm not great at it all the time. I definitely forget some days to fill this out, but I really enjoy doing it. I have it set up where each month is indicated and then the amount of days, and I will keep track of my physical reading specifically through this. So if I read 1 to 50 pages, 51 to 100 pages, each color correlates to that. I do have this audiobook only, or if I totally forget how many pages I read, I will do orange. But yeah, I really like this. I'm going to do it again next year. Now my genre tracker, I'm definitely going to try to rework somehow. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but as of right now, I just have like the 6 genres, which I've already read a book. I read a romance very recently and I didn't have anywhere to put it. So I think I might have included it in Litfic, or I just didn't include it. But the idea was to, obviously fill in a box every time I finished a book from that main genre. But I pretty much would do this immediately after finishing a book. I would fill that out and then go to my book log and write it in, because otherwise I would forget what each box represented. It was really difficult, especially in the beginning. And then I finally figured out I have to just do it right away so I don't forget. But yeah, I definitely want to rework a genre tracker slightly differently for next year. I don't know what yet, but I do want to include more genres, maybe more subgenres too. We'll see, but it's not the best. So, and then yeah, I've only read 1 short story collection, so there's that. My 24 in 2024 page, I love this spread. I think I'm gonna do pretty much exactly this for next year. I'm doing okay at it. I've read 10 books so far, so I still have 14 to go. So definitely not great on track. I should probably read a couple in a row to get back on track, but I like the way this looks. I found these little holographic stars that match the holographic numbers and letters I had. So I love this one. I love the chaotic nature of it. Then my 5-star reads page, I do need to add, actually need to add 2 more to this page. I need to add Bunny by Mona Awad, which I wasn't initially going to include because it's a reread, but then I thought about it and it's a 5-star reread. It's a 6-star at this point. So I'm going to put that in there. And then the Invocations was my most recent 5-star read, so I have to add that. But yeah, I'm pretty much on track with exactly how my 5-star numbers were last year. So there's that. So this page is my video ideas, and I love this page so much. It's great. But I need more space, honestly. So I ended up inserting a bunch of Post-it notes because I needed to, add a bunch of ideas because it's never stopping. I'm always thinking about things I can do. So there's a lot here. And yeah, like I said, I have a lot of ideas and not enough time, but I love having this page to look at because when I'm scheduling out for my month ahead, I like to be able to reference this if I'm having a difficult time thinking what I might want to do for a week. It's a great reference. I love having this. My Moody page, this was so much fun to make, but I will be honest, I have not been really using it much since I created it. I need to kind of go through my list and revamp them and make sure they're all up to date, but I do love the idea of this. The difficult thing for me is I'm moodier than this, so having my mood reads dwindled to 4 subgenres is still not enough for me. So that's the only issue with this page really, but I'm still going to continue on with something like this in the future and maybe even include additional pages. I love lists. I'm a list type of girl, so I love having lists of things and it's satisfying to me. So I will continue doing this with additional genres moving forward. This was my Divine Feminine page, which I do have to go through and update some of these library cards, but I pretty much kept track of all my feminist literature through this. Books about unhinged women or weird girl lit we have here. We have female rage, books talking about motherhood and sisterhood, good for her stories, stories that talk about the beauty industry. I love this page. This is currently still my favorite type of genre built into specifically horror, but really anything. If it's a story dealing with very female feminist centric stories and ideas, I'll eat it up every time. So I love this page, super satisfying to me, love it. This is still blank. That my idea for this was to sticker bomb it with some of these stickers actually. So I'm still gonna do that. I'm just kind of collecting stickers before I decide to fully go for it, but it is currently blank. It will be sticker bombed at some point. And then now we get into my monthly spread. So each month I do a full spread for the calendar. I will continue to do this. I need the room, the space. This does double as my personal planner as well. Pretty much all of the calendars look very similar, except moving forward, I decided to stop trying to draw out a lot of script because I don't have the best handwriting. This took me a while, believe it or not. I know it doesn't look like it, but it did take me a while. So moving forward after January, I did end up starting to print out most of the words and stuff. So I wasn't taking as much time and it was a little bit more doable for me and less daunting. So each month I do a page for my TBR. A few months I did separate it as book clubs, video ideas, like books that I wanted to read specifically for videos, and then just additional books that I was hoping to get to. My TBRs are always pretty much just hopefuls because I'm a mood reader and it happens. So I make a TBR because I like to have a stack of books to keep my eye on, and if I finish a book, I kind of can just immediately know where to go to next instead of getting decision paralysis. But that does not mean I stick to it. So then I still have a page of the books that I actually read for the month because they will always be different and always include additional books. So then I do a page of all the books that I actually read for the month with my book covers printed out January, I did do a favorite quote. I decided to stop doing that because I just find it to be difficult. I don't annotate every single book that I read, so it's just kind of difficult. If something sticks out to me immensely and I really feel the need to write it out, I will, but it's just not going to be the status quo. So then at the end of each month, I do a spread for my stats and a spread that includes my favorite book of the month as well as my books bought section. Moving forward, I did switch the sides of these, so I'm ending with my stats each month. But this is how my stats went for my first month. I did change the way I do my star ratings because I find this to be not very intuitively read. So I did change my graph style for my star ratings, but all of the rest of this is the same, but I did add some additional information in my future ones. And then yeah, each month I will pick out my favorite book of the month. I'll kind of write my thoughts about it, just very minimal. We're not doing a full, dissertation on these books or anything, just a little tidbit. And then I keep track of the books that I bought each month. So I do buy maybe around 6 books each month. That's kind of my average. So yeah, if I'm under 6 books, I'm happy. Then my February calendar, this was like a candy type of theme since Valentine's Day. And my TBR, I did like little candy jar style where I did the books that I was reading for videos, book clubs and buddy reads, and then hopefuls. And then here's the books that I actually did read. And then this month I started adding my star rating underneath that. I do have my rating here, but I like having it there too. Oh, so calling myself out here, I never did my stats for February. I got lazy one day and I was like, I'll do it later. And then I never did. So there's that. This month I didn't do a book of the month spread, like my favorite book, because it was going to be a full spread for chlorine. And I do still intend to do that, kind of like a Pinterest board style spread. I haven't done it. So yeah, calling myself out. I'm not perfect, okay? But this month I did DNF a book and I decided to include that. And I said when I DNF'd it, why I DNF'd it, if I would ever revisit it. So I did DNF organ meat, so I never talked about it. I always forget to talk about my DNFs in my wrap-up videos, but I did DNF it. I had no idea what was going on. Honestly, I was listening to the audiobook. It was a little bit too far out there for me, so maybe I'll reread it one day, who knows. But at this current time, I have absolutely zero interest in it. And then my books bought. Again, there's my blank wannabe chlorine spread, and then just going into March. So March was Realmathon, so I have a Realmathon specific spread. I loved the way this turned out, and I did kind of a dark academia cottagecore type of vibe. And yeah, I ended up reading a lot of books. I had a lot of books planned that I didn't read, but I read a lot of books still. And then I kind of made this flap so I can include more, because since it was part of the Realmathon, I included the points in addition to the other information for each book. And then I added this flap for my 2 DNFs of that month. And yeah, did the same thing where I talked about when I DNF'd it, why I DNF'd it, if I would ever pick it up again. Then my favorite book of the month, books bought, and stats. And this is pretty much exactly how my stats will continue to be. I like doing it this way. Total books, total pages, average rating. Then I started doing my top mood and my top genre, which I really enjoy including. And then this is now how I do my star rating, format breakdown, and page number breakdown in a pie chart format. And I really like this. I love this page. Really enjoy this theme. Then April, we had old school April readathon, so I kind of went for that. So this was very much kind of like, I don't know, MySpace 2000s feeling. So I tried to go for that. And then moving forward, I kind of have some like 60s vibes, some 80s vibes. It's all over the place, but I had just a little list of TBR. When I highlight them, that means I did read them. If I cross them out, that means I didn't. This one I did soft DNF, I just wasn't feeling it at that time. I included the old school April prompts there, and then my books read. Kept it pretty simple, really like the way this turned out. And then my favorite book of the month, my books bought, and then my stats. So going into May was, of course, Escape the Readathon, hosted by Lexi. I forgot to mention, but Old School April is hosted by Kelsey from Slime & Slashers. It's a super fun, laid-back readathon. And then, of course, May is Escape the Readathon with Lexi from Books with Lexi. And so I went for that theme. It was carnival themed. I bought her sticker pack and just used that throughout the month. So it's very purple, black and white themed. Then specific for Escape the Readathon, she made a map of the carnival that we were stuck in with all the prompts, and then these were all the games that my team did. This was my TBR that I made. Again, I just list them out, but then this was my actual books read. I did not include the star ratings because there was too much. So I just had it kind of be chaotic because it very much went with the feel of Escape the Readathon, but I love the way it looks. And yeah, I really enjoy these spreads. And of course, my favorite book of the month, books bought. I got a little fancy with it and made balloons. So as you can tell, there's definitely more than 6 there, but that's okay. And then my stats page. And then June, this is the last month that I have. I still have to do my books read page. This one I went about different because I was very busy the month of June. So I had June goals rather than TBR. I had kind of a very, very loose reading list, which I only read 2 books from, and a kind of life goal situation. So I still have to add my books read, and I still have to do my other spreads for it as well. And then I did at least sketch out my July because there's a lot going on in July as well. So I did start that, but I do have to play catch up a little bit with my reading journal. But overall, I have had such a fun time with my reading journal, really enjoy it. It's a great little outlet for somebody who does not consider themselves to be creative at all. It's also a really fun way to look back. Moving forward, I definitely want to include more Pinterest board collage feeling layouts and have just kind of like more fun layouts where I'm just gushing over books that I absolutely loved. So that is the goal moving forward with my reading journal. I've learned a lot about what I enjoy out of a reading journal and where I want to go forward with my reading journal. So that is going to be everything for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.